I'm Maxine Cesar, and today we are absolutely thrilled to be joined by one of the most talked about names this New York fashion season, the visionary behind the groundbreaking runway show that's already making fashion history, Janet Mandell. Welcome and congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So now that New York Fashion Week has come to a close and you've had time to sit back and really process, how are you feeling?
I have to tell you, I'm more of a visionary and a creative. And when we started talking about the New York Fashion Week and rolling out the vintage fashion show, I think a lot of people on my team were hyped. And a lot of my executive team, they sort of saw the vision, but they couldn't really understand the purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was the purpose of Janet Mandell curating a vintage fashion show during New York Fashion Week? There's a number of reasons. It's awareness, right? It's brand awareness. Really introducing the multifaceted sustainability angle. Okay, that's number two. But also educating people on access.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our clients think that we are just a rental house for the elite and celebrities because we have so much talent posted on our Instagram. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. We are way more than just catering to the elite influencers or celebrities. We cater to peer-to-peer. We cater to anybody that wants to use our service, but most importantly, anybody that wants to feel like they could actually dress like you own it and not have to pay those high ticket prices, right? If somebody is going, and I have a lot of these clients that come and they're not fashion people, but they're going to like a major event, like Lauren Sanchez getting married to Amazon owner. His name is like at the tip of my tongue. Or just normal people that are going to a extravagant event. Like I'm talking about multi-million-dollar weddings, right? And they're just like, they say, I'm nobody. I'm just somebody that works corporate and I got invited because I think my husband knows them. They're not in it in the fashion world or the celebrity world or the influencer world. So those are the people that we love dressing because we know that we can get them out of their comfort zone. I wanted to introduce vintage for multi reasons. It's not attainable. It is not. It is highly priced. Now, you can go and get a vintage dress at a thrift store or even any other consignment stores or the Real, and you can pay $500, $400, $300, $600, $700 for a dress, and it's cute, but it's not a rare piece that you saw on the runway. Those pieces are one of a kind. They are extremely hard to access because it's just not available. It's not even, you can't even go buy it. If you said, I love that dress, but I want to own it, they can't. It's not on the market.
Yeah.
Well, for us, curating a vintage fashion show gives everybody sort of, it educates them that, yes, you can rent it for a special event. It is accessible. It is not only accessible to the elite. And that's kind of the message we wanted to give people. And also we wanted people to understand who we really are. I think a lot of people are still sort of confused, but if they go to our Instagram, they say, oh, I understand. She's a rental house. A lot of people said, oh, I think she loans dresses to celebrities or something, and that's the confusion because a lot of people don't understand, we're a brand new company, 7 years into it, a brand new name that made it to New York Fashion Week last week. So they don't really know who we are. So we received so many amazing stats. You wouldn't even believe it. And people were so, not even mesmerized. People just had fun. Sometimes
one of them.
you lose having fun at these fashion shows.
Yeah.
It's very stark. It's very rigid. People are just sitting there. They don't talk to each other. They're intimidated because you might have Anna Wintour there. You might have all these celebrities. And it's just everybody's in their own little niche corner. I
Right.
felt like having the after party right after the show and serving drinks where people could mingle for 15, 20 minutes really gave, it really like released the tension of people when they got up, because it was like more of a cocktail hour, right? Everybody sort of mingled, they took photos, nobody kicked them out. It wasn't like, oh yeah, you have to leave. We made people feel inclusive, and we made people feel like they could stay and have fun.
Well, Janet, I can say that I was one of the people at the show. I had an incredible time from the moment that I stepped in. The music, the atmosphere, the people, even the venue itself was so unique. It gave a more inviting experience rather than the conventional, runway shows. I really appreciate your intention behind this collection and this show. You
I
did an
appreciate
amazing
that.
job.
Really happy with the venue at first. I'll tell you, we love the vibe, the rooftop opens. It was a bar in the middle. It was really tricky to lay out the runway, but
Yeah.
it worked, it worked. And I think that what we didn't recognize is how beautiful it turned out with the people that were so lovely dressed. Like most people that go to fashion shows, they're usually buyers, stylists. They don't care what they look like. They're just there to see the show, right? Editors, like major, they're just like, I'm here to do my job, because they go to so many fashion shows.
Correct.
We wanted to create an experience. It's all about experience that a lot of fashion shows don't have. They have an after party much later, and great, it's fun, but it's the same thing. You go to an after party, it's dark, you don't see a lot of people that and it's all these people that are like celebrities and influencers that are on their niche corner. Like, you go there and you see people, but you're not really engaging with them.
Well, Janet, going back to accessibility and your business and how things are run, tell me a little bit, what does the client process look like? Someone who is not very familiar with vintage and all the high-end designers that you carry, what does that process look like for them?
So a lot of the people that actually make appointments to come into our showroom to have the in-style showroom experience, they do a little investigation online, because they have to make their appointment online. So they understand the caliber of items and what we do. They don't understand the process. They understand Janet Mandell carries Gucci, Chanel, and every designer you could think of. And I know I have to make an appointment to go there, but they don't understand the process. And the process is very simple. You don't need to do any homework. You don't need to be stressed out. The only thing you need to do, like everybody says, when you don't want to go to a health club, just show up. Show up to your appointment, and we take care of everything. They walk in, there's champagne or coffee offered. You sit down and go through the legal documents, because we do have a rental agreement. After that is put aside, then we go through the fun part. We walk them through our showroom. We show them some of the items that might be of interest to them. They tell us where they're going, what the color theme is, if they have a themed wedding or an event, what size they are, what they're looking for, shoes, accessories, all of that. So what we do is we pick the dress first, whether it's something you're going to wear. Once they solidify the final select of what they love, and usually it's the first thing that they try on. They could try on 30 pieces if they want. Most people don't, because they get overwhelmed. So you have to understand, each location has probably 2,000 pieces.
Wow.
So it's really overwhelming to go through all of that, right? So that's why you have a dedicated stylist for an hour. You choose 10 pieces, you try them all on, and then you pick your final dress. From there, we accessorize, whether it's earrings, shoes, bag. I consider a shawl or fur coat or a jacket an accessory. Then they get to choose if they want to complete that look and rent the entire look, or some people are on a budget and they say, you know what, I'll just take the shoes and the dress because I know I don't have the shoes for this at home and I don't have the time to go look for a pair of shoes. And I don't want to buy a hot pink shoes with rhinestones. They're not going to wear that more than once. So it's a really fluid process. Most people have so much fun because they say, this is so fun, and then the stress part is relieved because now they're not focusing on what their attire would be for an event. They have it all picked out. They rent it for 7 days. Then they return it within 7 days. We also offer, and this is the best attribute and value proposition for our business. Each location has a tailor staffed fully. So our tailor will tailor the dress to your needs, whether it's a hem or a strap. It's temporary, but they're expert tailors that can actually have this done for you for very minimal cost.
Do you have any favorite pieces that you couldn't wait to get on the runway?
I'll give you a perfect example, and it'll always be my favorite. There was a blue dress. I don't know if you saw. It was backless. It was blue and green, I think. It was like one of the last we've had that probably vintage piece for a couple of years. That is everyone's favorite. Victoria Beckham wore it, I think, back in the 90s. It is extremely rare. I have never worn it, but everybody that wears this dress looks stunning. It doesn't matter if you're blonde, redhead, dark hair. The color in itself is so bright and beautiful that it literally elevates your look. I love the Chanel look. That was like
one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's head to toe Chanel. Everything was Chanel. The sequins set, the little booty shorts, the boots, the bag, everything she had on was Chanel, and it was vintage.
So Janet, before we close out this interview, I definitely want to know, what can we expect next? You made such a huge impact this season. What's next for Janet?
You really think so?
I think so. This is one of my favorite shows, and I've been to several shows this season. One of my favorites.
Thank you so much. So Janet Mandell's going to go on a road tour with the runway show, with the vintage runway show. Our next will be Miami during Art Basel. Then we'll go to Los Angeles, and then Dallas.